And Krishna. So Krishna Pradidi, you'll be singing.
Hari Hari Bol, Dandavat Pranams. Thanks for asking me to come back.
Dandavat Pranam. And which song?
Ebara Karuna Karo by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
Right.
Om Gyana Timarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. You can hear me okay? Okay. Ebara Karuna Karo Vaishnava Gosai Patita Pavana Toma Bineke Honai Kaharani Kate Gele Papa Dure Jai Emonadaya Prabhu Keva Kotha Pai Gangara Parasha Hoile Pashate Pavana Darshane Pavitra Karo Ito Maraguna Haristane Aparadhe Tare Harinam Tomastane Aparadhe Nahi Koedam Tomara Hridaye Sada Govinda Vishram Govinda Kahina Mama Vaishnava Param Prati Janme Kori Asha Charanera Dhuli Narotama Kairo Daya Apanaira Boli Ebara Karuna Karo Vaishnava Gosai Patita Pavana Toma Bineke Honai Jaya Vaishnav Gosai Jaya Vaishnav Gosai Vaishnav Gosai Jaya Vaishnav Gosai Jaya Vaishnav Takur Jaya Vaishnav Takur Vaishnav Takur Jaya Vaishnav Takur Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Okay. Thank you so much, Krishna Pradidi.
Thank you.
Very good. Bhajan. Perfect for this topic. Vaishnava.
Wonderful.
Okay. So, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming. And we've been going on with this Bhakti basics now for several weeks and or even months, and covered different subjects of Guru Tattva and different types of sevakas. Like last time, I'm wondering if Manini Radha Didi and Shamali Didi are here. Maybe you, Manini Didi, could you start maybe with giving a summary, like
Yeah.
at the last time, and maybe just half, yeah? That's
Yeah.
very beautiful painting you have there, like Shamali Didi painting.
Yes, I just try to surround myself with Vraj and, and stimulus. So anyway, I thought I'd put that up in case anyone who's on this hasn't seen it. But these classes have been so remarkable. And last week we talked about basically the different levels of sevaks. And we talked about Uttama, Madhyam, and Kanishta sevaks. The definition of Uttama being one who's like manobistam with their Gurudev, like really knows all of the, I'm sorry, I think I just did something else. Who knows the heart of their Gurudev, exactly knows their desires without being really, having to be told every single thing. And they know how to please their Gurudev fully from that place, which is something I think, I aspire for. I'm sure a lot of us aspire for. Madhyam sevaks are those who, they can fulfill their Gurudev's desire, but they need some guidance, some instruction around that, and may not really understand that internal mood. And then you have the Kanishta, and the Kanishta, probably cannot render service that well. In fact, we talked about 6 types of neophyte sevaks or Kanishta sevaks, and that includes those who are fickle like a bee, those who answer back like they pierce the heart of their Gurudev like a arrow, procrastinators. Which
Wait, there was another meaning. There was another meaning of the ban, the arrow sevak as well.
They
Remember?
also break the heart of their Gurudev by not waiting for all the instruction or not doing what is asked. Is that the other piece?
Yeah, they'll receive an instruction, and just like an arrow will dart out the door without fully hearing that instruction and knowing what to do and where to go and like that.
Yes, yes. So that's Ban. And then like a bee is called Ali, like the arrow is Ban. The procrastinator is Jyotishaka. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah,
Jyotishaka. Jyotishaka.
yeah.
Okay, Jyotishaka. And then there's the lazy ones. The lazy who doesn't want to do anything. They're inactive. That's Stabdibuta.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then those who don't do anything on their own, Kimikaka, and then the ones who pass the buck, like they're like, can someone else do this? The Presita Presaks. So I think Shamali Didi can cover the rest. She gets to cover the cool stuff about the qualities of a real disciple.
Okay.
Haribol.
All right. Yeah, very, very nice. Thank you so much. And Shamali Didi, can you give a summary of the other half? Haribol Didi.
All glories to Guru and Gauranga. Manini, that was beautiful. You always have such beautiful insights and ways of delivering it. The Uttama Sadhaka is, as you said, Manobisham, knows the heart of his Guru, but also the qualities. He's faithful, glorious, humble, pleasing to the eye. He is truthful, pious, intelligent, honest, and free from hypocrisy. So he also sees his guru as the representative, the supreme personality of Godhead, and he faithfully serves his guru in all aspects. Seeing him also being a true friend to the guru, not bana, not just really faithfully following through on everything, but seeing that nothing in this world is his, everything is Guru, and that Guru is the deliverer, and without Guru nothing can happen. So this Sat Shishya is just constantly giving uninterrupted service to the Sri Guru, and again, Prakaksha Vigraha, just seeing the divine in his Guru, and it's just natural for him to follow through. I think there's a beautiful, I don't know all the details, but there's a story of Haridas Thakur being outside of the classroom. Like, he was so humble he wouldn't go into the classroom, but before his guru could even say it, he knew in his mind what he needed to say, and he said it for him. And this type of relationship that we're talking about with Guru and the Sat Shishya, that it's almost like one mind, one heart. There is no difference between the two of them, and he constantly has the darshan of Guru, both internally and externally, and perceives the Guru as everything. So serving the Guru as an instrument of serving the Guru means that you're serving Krishna, and everything is meant for Krishna service. So it's this deep, deep, deep level of understanding that by following the Guru, rendering service, they are the topmost, and very rare in this world. So I hope that I've done some service to render this. And if Manini, if you have anything else that you want to add, please do.
Or anyone else, if they don't feel like adding anything. I think you both summarized very, very nicely. Thank you so much, Manini Radha Didi and Shamli Didi. It's very concise and very beautifully explained. So thank you. All right, so if no one else wants to add anything, we can go on with today's topic, who is a Vaishnava. So Krishna Priya Didi, you there?
Yes, I will get the slides going. All right. Can everyone see okay?
Yes,
It's great.
Great.
All right,
So
Bhakti
Bhakti
Basic,
Basic,
who is a
who is a
Vaishnava.
Vaishnava.
There's
There's an echo.
I don't
I
know
don't
why.
know why.
I'm going to go on mute and maybe that will help. 1 second. Let's see
great. Sorry,
Yes.
well, is this the same as Vaishnava Tattva? I know that last week we were going to cover Vaishnava Tattva, and I'm just making sure that who is a Vaishnava is the same thing as Vaishnava Tattva.
Yeah, it
Okay.
is actually. Yeah.
Okay,
It's
thank
just
you.
because last week I didn't get round to Vaishnava Tattva. So I
Okay.
wanted to start on that today by giving a introduction. So are we okay now that the echo is gone, I think. All right. Okay. So Bhakti Basics Part 6, who is a Vaishnava? So this is a very important topic. as in Guru Tattva is very important, Vaishnava Tattva is also very important to understand who is actually a Vaishnava, because there's many pseudo Vaishnavas. That means those who are kind of pretenders. And of course, there's different levels of Vaishnavas. And anyway, we'll just give an introduction about the qualities of a Vaishnava. So we can go on to the next slide, please. Okay, who is a Vaishnava and what is Vaishnavism? So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he gives very nice definitions, and he said that Vaishnavism is the awakening of one's ras, that means devotional mellow, through the process of bhajan, by taking shelter at the lotus feet of Shri Guru. So this is a very deep meaning of what is Vaishnavism. Of course, we can find lots of general meanings out there. And also this meaning will differentiate, what Hinduism from Vaishnavism, because many Hindus think that Hinduism is synonymous to Vaishnavism. But actually, by this definition, we can understand that one must practice. That means hearing, chanting and remembering, practicing Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam of Krishna very seriously with one pointed determination. That means like having agreed to awaken one's sambandha, one's relationship with Krishna. And that will be in any one of the 5 rasas. As we know, there's Dasharas, there's Shantaras, Dasharas, Sakyaras, Vatsalyaras, and Madhuryaras. So I'm sure you all know this, but Shantaras is neutrality, Dasharas servitude, Sakyaras friendship, Vatsalyaras parental mood, and Madhuryaras like conjugal mood. So we want to awaken one's ras, and how do we do that? Through connection, relation with Vaishnava, and of course all gurus are Vaishnavas, and that's through the process of bhajan, and that's very deep bhajan that may take some years, maybe even some lifetimes, to really get that understanding, that realization. So this is what is Vaishnavism. And what are the characteristics of a perfect soul or pure Vaishnava and a practitioner sadhak? So this question was asked, and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is answering. Those who have attained the mood of the gopis are perfect beings, and those who follow them are practitioners. Therefore, the learned who know the absolute truth accept 2 types of sadhus: perfect beings and practitioners. So therefore, those who are sadhakas, that's practitioners, or those who are siddhas, that means perfect beings, they both are known as Vaishnavas. So of course here it's Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying what is the meaning of a siddha, and that's only one who has attained the mood of the gopis. They are really siddhas. So of course, there are many who are pretending to be siddhas, but they haven't actually got this realization. So, and of course, those who follow them are sadhakas. So what's the definition of a sadhaka? According to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami said, Utpanaratya Samyan, I can't remember the rest. So one in whose heart rati or bhav, that means devotional sentiment. One in whose heart Rati or Bhav to Krishna has already manifest, and who's become qualified to perceive the direct manifestation of the Lord, but who hasn't yet obtained complete freedom from all obstacles. So there may be some little, like what's called impurities there, maybe some slight anatas, something. But he has the qualification to perceive the direct manifestation of the Lord. So this is and in whose heart Bhav or Rati has already manifest. So of course there's different types of sadhakas. There's a one who's practicing sadhana bhakti, one who's practicing Bhav bhakti, and one who's practicing prema bhakti. So when one becomes perfected in one's sadhana, then one attains Bhav. That is the goal of one's sadhana. That means one of the moods of one of the eternal residents of Vrindavan, Braj. So, like a specific follower of Krishna, associate, I should say, Krishna. Like it could be Sridham, Sudham, Madhamangal, or Yashoda Maya Nanda Baba in Vatsalya Ras, or Rupa Manjari in Madhurya Ras. So how does one recognize? Oh, I wanted to say something about a siddha as well. It's important to know that, and all Vaishnavas are gurus actually, and unless a Vaishnava guru has realized his swarup, that means spiritual, then actually can't give diksha. Why is that? Because a guru gives the disciple the his swarup in a seed form. So that means he has to be able to see and realize his own swarup, spiritual form, and sambandha relationship with Krishna. And he can also see that disciple's spiritual form and relation with Krishna. So, and if that Vaishnava guru is not has not realized that, then how can the mantra he gives actually result in perfection? So that's important to know, that what is a siddha, a perfected, liberated soul, and whom we should take shelter of. So how does one recognize a Vaishnava? This is a very nice point. A Vaishnava is not recognized by his acceptance or rejection of Varnashram, or by his appearance. Devotional service of Krishna is the only indication of a Vaishnava. So it's said, here it's saying, he's not recognized by his acceptance or rejection of Varnashram. Like Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, in the 18th chapter, Sarvadharma pragyagyam mamme kam saranam bhajaham tvam sarvapabhabhyo makshayashyami ma suchaha. That, give up all varieties of dharma and just simply surrender to me. So Krishna himself is saying that actually when one becomes advanced, then one is not so concerned about following all the tenets of Varna ashram. Although a guru and a Vaishnava, he will follow. Why? Because he's giving example. But anyhow, if you see there's an anomaly, so to speak, then you don't have to be concerned about that, because Vaishnava, is not under, the jurisdiction of all these rules and regulations like a neophyte. devotee. So, and what did Mahaprabhu say? Naham vripo nachanarapati napi vaishona sudro nahambani nachagriapati novanisti gatoba kintu prodanikila pamananrita punanritapta gopi bhata padakamalaya das das and das. So very beautiful verse and very nice meaning that Mahaprabhu, he chanted in front of the cart of Lord Jagannath. And he said, oh, I am not actually a Brahmana, a Kshatriya, a Vaishya, or a Sudra, nor am I a Brahmachari, Grihasta, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. Although it appeared that Mahaprabhu was in sannyas vesh, his dress was like that of a sannyasi, but he said, I'm none of those things. What am I? I'm actually a servant of the lotus feet of the master of the gopis, and that is Sri Krishna, who is the ultimate shelter of everyone. He's full of transcendental bliss and the ocean of unlimited nectar. So Mahaprabhu is saying, I'm, you know, although externally he may have taken sannyas, but he said, I'm not a sannyasi. I'm not a Brahmana. He may have been appeared in a Brahman family, but he said, I'm not a Brahmana, not any of those things. I'm simply a servant of Krishna. And a Vaishnava should not also be recognized by his appearance. So this is very important, and Srila Rupa Goswami Pad said also, Drista Svabhava Janita Vaprasashtajoshai Na Prakrita Dvamya Bhakta Janasya Pashai. So what's the meaning? This verse in Upadeshamrita, that devotees, Vaishnavas, in this material world, they shouldn't be considered but by anything material, like there shouldn't be any material consideration of the Vaishnava. Like he shouldn't be judged according to his birth. Maybe he's born in a low family, like Vidura. Vidura was born in a Shudra family, but he was a very high class Vaishnava and should be honored as such. And a Vaishnava shouldn't be judged by any imperfections seen in his nature, like it could appear like he's very lethargic, or maybe he appears quite harsh sometimes, or he shouldn't be judged by any imperfections seen in his character, like maybe he appears ugly, maybe he has some deformity. So why he shouldn't be judged in this way? Because we cannot look at a Vaishnava and see him in any external way at all. You know, try to understand who he is and what level he's on. A pure Vaishnava, just, it may appear there's some imperfections in his character, or he may look like his features may not be so perfect, but actually, just like the foam and mud in the Ganges, then we understand the Ganges is always transcendental. There's never any impurities. In the same way, there's never any impurities in a Vaishnava, in his character or in his form, always transcendental. And there's an example also of Astavakra Rishi, how Janak Maharaj, one time he invited him into assembly of sadhus, and as Astavakra Rishi, who was actually bent in 8 places, that's why he's called Astavakra. Asta means 8 and Vakra means like deformed in those 8 places. And so he was going into the assembly, and he couldn't walk so well because of his deformity. And as soon as he entered, everyone there started laughing and laughing. What did he do? Astabhakti Rishi started laughing even louder. and then Janet March was very, astonished. Oh, everyone's laughing at him. He's laughing even louder. Why? So he rose up from his seat and he immediately asked, "Oh, dear Rishi, please, we see that you're laughing so loudly, but why?" So then Astabhakti Rishi said, "Oh, I thought that I was coming to join an assembly of sadhus, Vaishnavas, and rishis, sages. But I see that I've actually stumbled upon a convention of shoemakers." So he said, "Actually, what are cobblers? What do they do? They are only interested in leather and skin for making shoes. But I see that in the same way that all of you are just looking at my skin, at my external form. And actually your interest is just in seeing if someone is beautiful or ugly, healthy or fat or thin, disabled or young, old, like this. And you're not even seeing my soul. You're not seeing actually the what's inside." So then Janet March, when he spoke these words, then he said, "Oh, yes, you've spoken very wisely." And then he actually surrendered to Astabhakti Rishi. He accepted him as his Shiksha Guru. So like this, that Gurudev actually, he once said that there may be a somewhat advanced Vaishnava, and we may see that one Vaishnava is very beautiful or young and beautiful, strong, like energetic person, and he's chanting, he's giving lecture, and one may think, he's very bona fide Vaishnava, very pukka Vaishnava. But on the other hand, there may be another Vaishnava and he's more advanced and he's preaching, but like Astabhakti Rishi, he's ugly, he doesn't have a sweet voice, he's singing, but his voice is not very sweet, or when he's speaking, it's not very sweet. And then person will think, "Oh, he's a bogus person," like this, but he doesn't understand that this Vaishnava he may appear like this, but actually he's very advanced. So we have to be very careful. And another example, last example, is Sanatana Goswami. He's, of course, an eternal associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one of the 6 Goswamis. And he was constantly absorbed in ecstasy and his own internal realizations, constantly absorbed in bhav. And yet, one time, he manifested some pastime of suffering, a certain type of skin disease. So but if anyone had considered, look at him, he has these sores all over his body, and this must be due to his karma, he's made a big offense, this would be actually very offensive. And Mahaprabhu, he understood and he saw Sanatana Goswami. He didn't even see his sores, he didn't consider them at all, he just simply wanted to embrace him. So but Sanatana Goswami, when he saw Mahaprabhu wanting to embrace him, then he stood back and he said, no, please. So Mahaprabhu, he told Sanatana Goswami, actually the body of a Vaishnava is never material. And Krishna has somehow manifested these itching sores on the body of Sanatana Goswami. And he sent him here to test me. And if I hadn't embraced him, then I would certainly be punished by Krishna. But as this is committing aparad, Vaishnava aparad, such an offense. Sanatana Goswami, we know he's an eternal associate of Krishna. And these sores that appeared on his body, actually, this is just simply like a pastime. And Mahaprabhu, he wanted to manifest this in order to show everyone. And as soon as Mahaprabhu embraced him, then all his sores disappeared. And his body became very golden and effulgent like this. So many examples are there of how to understand that a Vaishnava cannot be judged externally. We cannot, especially a Kanistha Adhikari, when I was on the neophyte platform, cannot really see who is Vaishnava and understand his position. So we can go on to the next. Please, Krishna Priyadadi. Okay, who is a sadhu? Actually, this word sadhu is synonymous with Vaishnava, but anyway, there's some definitions of who is a sadhu, so I wanted to include that here. Who is a sadhu? A saintly, pure devotee, meaning of sadhu. Sadhanoti sadayati cha Krishna prema iti sadhu. One who knows the sadhya, goal, and sadhana process, and therefore can guide others in performing sadhana to attain the sadhya, or the goal, of Krishna prema, is a sadhu. So the sadhu, here it's explained, he knows the goal. And Gurudev, he would always say that first we must establish what is our goal and what is the main objective of our sadhana and bhajan. And then we can fix our minds on that goal. Otherwise, how is it possible? And unless we meet a pure Vaishnava guru, then we cannot possibly understand what is our goal exactly. Specifically, before we met Srila Gurudev, maybe we understood in a general way of Krishna prema, but actually it was Gurudev who made very clear that he said divine love, Krishna prema, is very broad term. Or prema is a very broad term, and for some it may mean love for Lord Narayan or Lakshmi Narayan, and for others it may mean love for Shivamachandra or Sitaram in Ayodhya, and for others it may mean love for Dwarkadish Krishna, Krishna in Dwarka, or Mathuresh Krishna, Krishna in Mathura. So to develop love for Mathuresh Krishna or Dwarkadish Krishna, is it the same as developing love for Brajendra Nandan Shyamasundar? No, actually, this is, as we know, Goloka Vrindavan is the highest abode, and love for Krishna, as in Brajendra Nandan Shyamasundar, is the highest. But still, this is still could be said in a general way, because there's 5 rasas, and what kind of relationship do you have with Krishna? So the sadhu, the Vaishnava, especially Guru, will give this sambandha, gyan, this knowledge of one's relationship, and it may be love for Krishna in Dasharas or Sakyaras or Vatsalyaras or Madhuryaras. And Gurudev told us specifically that in this line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that we're likely to be in Madhuryaras, but in what is our Srupa, our spiritual form, our specific relationship. So that is of that, hopefully, of a Manjari. Mahaprabhu came to give Manjari Bhav, the mood of a Manjari, maid servant of Shrimati Radhika. So this is very important, that the Vaishnava will certainly know the goal, give the goal, and give the sadhana, the process to attain that goal, because this is, so important. Step by step, how do we attain that very, very high goal? Not so easy. So Sadhu Vaishnava is able to guide us in that. So Srila Prabhupada said the simple definition of a Vaishnava is given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu: a person who immediately reminds one of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is a Vaishnava. So this is very general. Of course, there's different types of Vaishnavas, levels of Vaishnava, but certainly an Uttama Adhikari Vaishnava, topmost Vaishnava, upon seeing him, it will automatically, naturally reminded of Krishna, and maybe we will automatically start chanting Krishna's holy name. So then, as we're talking about what is a sadhu, who is a sadhu, then what is sangha, association with a sadhu? So samyak rupena anugamanam. So to follow the sadhu completely, externally and internally, by activities and by mood, is real sangha, association with a sadhu. Samyak, or sam means completely, and samyak rupena means with complete sambandha, with relation, and then of course surrender. So when one surrenders, then that means when one follows the sadhu completely, then it's not just to follow him externally, but it's also very important to follow the sadhu internally. And that is by understanding how he's doing bhajan, by his mood, by his complete absorption. So when one understands and follows the sadhu in that way, then this is real sangha, association with a sadhu. So we can go on to the next slide, please. Krishna Priyadidi. Okay, so the definition of a Vaishnava. So I think this has come up in previous sessions of Bhakti Basics, but it's no harm to repeat it. Hita Vishnu Dikshako Vishnu Puja Paronara Vaishnavo Bihito Bignai Itaro Smat Avaishnava. It's in Hari Bhakti Vilas. So learned scholars have determined that a Vaishnava is one who is initiated into a Vishnu mantra in accordance with the regulations of Shastra, and who is engaged in the worship of Shri Vishnu. All others are known as non-Vaishnavas. So this is very important, that if we see any Vaishnava, we can try to understand if he's coming in line. That means in one of the four bona fide sampradayas, there's verse sampradaya vahineye mantraste nishvalamata. That means that unless one's receiving a mantra in any one of the four sampradayas, that means the Ramanuja sampradaya, or the Shi sampradaya, or Madhavacharya sampradaya, or Brahma sampradaya, Vishnu Swami sampradaya, or Rudra sampradaya, Nimbadicha sampradaya, or the Kumara sampradaya, Chatushan Sampradaya, same thing. So if one receives a mantra in any of those 4 sampradayas, then this is considered bona fide and this mantra will bear fruit. But if not, this mantra will not bear fruit. So a Vaishnav is coming in one of those 4 sampradayas. If he's not, then he's not a Vaishnav according to this definition. So try to understand who is Vaishnav, who is not, and what are the qualities of a Vaishnav. So this very famous verse coming in Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, Titikshava Karunika Sura Savadenam Ajita Satrava Shanta Sadhava Sadhubhushana. The symptoms of a sadhu Vaishnav are that he is tolerant, merciful, and friendly to all living entities. He has no enemies, is peaceful, he abides by the scriptures, and all his characteristics are sublime. So this is a very good verse to understand the qualities of the Vaishnava. Srila Prabhupada would quote this over and over again. So you'll find that many times in Srimad Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita and other books. So what let's look into some of the qualities. Titikshava, what does that mean? He's tolerant. Karunaka, I wanted to explain first, actually. He's merciful. So a Vaishnava is said to be very merciful to all fallen conditioned souls. And he's known as Para Dukkha Dukhi. That means that para means to others, and dukkha means dukhi means those who are very unhappy. So those fallen conditioned souls who've turned away from Krishna, they're faced by all kinds of miseries, and a Vaishnava will see their miseries, see their suffering, and he'll be very unhappy upon seeing their suffering. So therefore his heart melts and he bestows his causeless mercy upon all. What is it? Sava Dehinam. Sava means all and Dehinam means all living entities. So any jiva, any living entity who has a material body, even those of animals like a dog or cat, there was a dog that was associated with Shivananda Sain, and he gave shelter to this dog. He was so merciful, and that dog was liberated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. So Vaishnava's merciful to all, extremely magnanimous. He's actually giving the highest thing. He's not giving anything material. He's not saying, oh, if you come to me, I will give you riches. Or if you come to me, I will give you nice, very good position or very nice material facilities. No, he's giving the highest thing, that's Krishna Prem. This is the greatest gift. So most magnanimous. And he's so merciful that even though the living entities, they don't even want Krishna Prem, maybe some are not interested. Maybe they're very fallen, they're very covered like that, but somehow he will try to attract them some way or another. And very tolerant, just like the examples given of a scorpion. The scorpion one time is in water and in the river, and there was a sadhu, and he was sitting on the bank of the river, and he saw this scorpion, and the scorpion was struggling in the water of the river. So he picked the scorpion up, and then as soon as he picked the scorpion up in his hand, the scorpion stung him. And it's very, very painful, that sting of a scorpion, but he wasn't at all affected. the scorpion jumped back into the water, and that Vaishnava, being merciful, he took him out again. Didn't care if he was going to sting him again, and yet he stung him again. And again, the scorpion fell back in the water, the river, and again he picked him up. And there was a friend of that sadhu who's watching this whole event, and he said, "Oh, I see that you're again and again picking up this scorpion, again and again it's stinging you, and you're not caring for this, you're tolerating and so merciful, trying to save that scorpion. So why are you doing this?" And that sadhu, he said, "Look, it's the nature of this scorpion to sting. And in the same way, my nature is to always help others. So if that scorpion cannot abandon its nature in stinging others, how can I abandon my nature of helping others?" So like this, this is the sadhu's nature. He's Titikshava, very tolerant, and he's Karunika, very merciful. And Gurudev, he once told that one time in the mat, there was a problem that arose, and a new devotee had taken initiation, and he was living in the mat, but he would only chant Harinam. He was all day chanting Harinam, and he wouldn't do any service. So Nrsimha Maharaj, he told him to leave, and he was thrown out the mat. So then that devotee was very upset for being thrown out the mat of the temple, and he just stood at the gate, and he was crying and crying, and he was just staying there with all his luggage. And then a devotee went and told Param Gurudev, that's my Guru's Guru, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Maharaj, and Param Gurudev, he called him. He called Nrsimha Maharaj, and he said, "Oh, I've heard that you've thrown this devotee out the mat, and this devotee is very upset and crying. So I just want to say one thing, that please leave, if there's any consideration about who will stay in the mat or who will have to leave the mat, then leave that to me. If anyone is to be thrown out the mat, leave that to me." He's actually, he said that, I've made all arrangements for everyone. That's okay. But very important that he was showing that always, how to see all those who are endeavoring to follow. And a Vaishnava like Param Gurudev, he is able to see who is genuinely trying and very, very merciful. So he's accepting all like this. So this is the compassion of a Vaishnava. And Param Gurudev said at that time, he said, "Oh, it's not anyone's prerogative to finish anyone's devotional service just like that. The opportunity has come, so no one should just finish." So like this, Vaishnav is so merciful, he's so tolerant, so patient. And Surda means very friendly, and friendly to all living entities. And we've explained that. And he's Ajata Sattva, which means he has no enemies. Why? Because he's carrying out the will of God. Krishna's will. So therefore, he's fully embraced Krishna. Krishna's fully embraced him. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Vaishnava, he's never lost to me and I'm never lost to him. So that Vaishnava, he's a friend to everyone. He sees all living entities as part and parcel of Krishna, and therefore he has love for Krishna, so he has love for all. He's the best friend of all. The examples given of Yudhisthira Maharaj. Yudhisthira Maharaj had no enemies. He never even thought of Duryodhana as his enemy. Although Duryodhana had performed so many atrocious activities, very, very harmful, offensive acts towards Yudhisthira Maharaj, the Pandavas, wanting to kill them, destroy them. You can't get worse than that. So nevertheless, he never referred to Duryodhana as Duryodhana. He always, Duryodhana means he's evil warrior. He never called him Duryodhana, he called him Suryodhana. Suryodhana means he's a very well-behaved warrior. And same with Dushashan. He never called him Dushashan. Dushashan also performed many atrocious activities, derobing Draupadi and all these things. But he never called him ill-behaved ruler. That's the meaning of Dushashan. He called him Sushashan, which means very well-behaved ruler. So I wanted to say a little bit more about Titikshava, how a Vaishnava sadhu is so tolerant. He may undergo so many personal difficulties himself. So many obstacles may come his way, but he always remains fixed and tolerant. Like Jesus Christ, for example, he's also a Vaishnava, devotee of the Lord, and he was crucified. But yet, what happened? Even he was being crucified in a very evil way. But he said, "Oh, my Lord, please forgive them, for they know not what they do." And Srila Haridas Thakur also, he was beaten very badly in 22 marketplaces. And still, Haridas Thakur was praying to the Lord to please, he said, "Lord, do not punish them, forgive them." Jagai and Madai also, they injured Nityananda, Madai threw the pot on Nityananda's head and it bled. But Nityananda, who was being so merciful, even though Mahaprabhu, he wanted to finish them immediately with his Sudarshan chakra. But Nityananda said, "No, please, do not do this. Please save them. Please be merciful to them." So Vaishnava is like this. He's extremely tolerant. No one can be more tolerant than a Vaishnava. So Vaishnava is Shanta also. Shanta means that he's very peaceful. So verse Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Ataiva Shanta Bhukti Mukti Siddhikami Sakali Shanta. So this means from verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and it means because a devotee of Krishna is desireless, then he's very, very peaceful. And we see that a Vaishnava, he doesn't have any desires for himself, unlike a fruitive worker, a karmi, fruitive worker. He desires material enjoyment. That means he's always looking at the objects of this world and how he can exploit them and enjoy them to the greatest degree. A jnani, he desires liberation. So this is something for himself. He wants to be free from all miseries and gain that liberation. A yogi, he desires mystic cities, mystic perfections. Why? Because maybe he wants to show to others that he can perform many magical feats, and it gives him some gratification. So like this is kind of material opulence. So they're all the karmis, the jnanis, they all desiring something like a materialist. They may desire $1 million. So they strive, they work hard to get this $1 million. But even when they get that, then they want another $1 million. So that's why gambling and like the lottery is so popular. Why? Because people have so much greed. They want more and more and more. They have so many desires. So how can Krishna reside in such a heart of someone who has so many desires? And even the jnanis, they want to merge into Brahman. And still they're never satisfied. Like a karmi is never satisfied no matter what they get. Even a jnani is never satisfied even after merging into Brahman, because then they again fall down into this material world. And like this, so many desires, the yogis full of material desires also. The only ones who don't have any material desires are the Vaishnavas. They're desireless. So why? They only want to serve and please Krishna. So that's why Krishna happily and peacefully resides in their heart. He cannot reside in the heart of others who have so many desires. So also, one other point about Vaishnava here is that a Vaishnava is one who gives up asat sangha. That means the sangha of a Mayavadi, impersonalist, or Stri sangha. That means those who are associating with the opposite sex, or always associating with those who have agreed to enjoy the opposite sex, like this. So the Vaishnava is always wanting association of other Vaishnavas, especially pure Vaishnavas. And he'd never, he gives up the association of Asat Sangha, those who non-Vaishnavas who can actually deviate one. So not that he would be deviated, but he's showing example to us that not to associate with those who can deviate one from the path. So then we'll go on to the next slide. Oh, question. Yeah. Okay. Right. So we should go back through quickly. The what happened? We've got the wrong slide there. You can just go back through the slides, please. Okay, so who's a Vaishnava and what is Vaishnavism? Definition is there by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. What are the characteristics of a perfect soul, pure Vaishnava and a sadhak? Those who obtain the mood of the gopis and those who follow them are sadhaks. And how does one recognize a Vaishnava? Okay, acceptance. It's not by acceptance or rejection of varnashram or his appearance. Okay, next slide to move on. quickly. Who is a sadhu? Saintly pure devotee. Sadhanoti sadayati cha Krishna prema iti sadhu. So this is a definition. One who knows the sadhya and sadhan, and therefore can guide one to attain that. And the simple definition is given by Srila Prabhupada. And what is Sangha? Samyak Rupena Anugamana. To follow the sadhu completely externally and internally. And next slide. Sorry, I'm going a bit quickly now. So definition of Vaishnava is one who is initiated into a Vishnu mantra in accordance with the rules and regulations of Shastra, who is engaged in the worship of Vishnu. And the qualities of Vaishnava, Tatikshava Karunaka, Sudha Savade Nam, that he's tolerant, merciful, friendly to all living entities, and Ajata Sattva, that he has no enemies, he's Shanta, peaceful, like this. These are Bhushana means ornaments of a Vaishnava. So next slide. Great, questions? Okay, just a second. That's Christian. Yeah, Didi.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Okay, so the first group of questions, and if you'd like to answer, please just raise your hand. And thank you so much for answering. Here we go. First question is, according to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, what is the definition of a Vaishnava? So that is according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. What is the definition of a Vaishnava? Manini.
According to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Vaishnava is someone who's awakened rasa in their heart through the process of bhajan, by taking shelter, by being under anugatya, taking shelter of a bona fide guru.
Very nice. Thank you so much. Okay, so the next question is, how does one recognize a Vaishnava? So if you can answer that either partially. Oh, perfect, Maribel.
So you can recognize the Vaishnava. Well, you kind of can't. Well, you can and you can't. You can't recognize them by their clothes, or by their class or their caste or anything like that, or anything material in that sense. But you can recognize a Vaishnava when they remind you of Krishna.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And the next question, what
Also,
is-
there's one more point to how does one recognize a Vaishnava? But I don't know, I was just away for a minute, so I don't know if anyone answered. A Vaishnava is not recognized by his acceptance or rejection of Varnashram, or by his appearance. Oh, did you mention that? Sorry, maybe
I didn't
missed
mention the Varnashram, but I mentioned the appearance, and that's,
Yeah.
that's
Okay, great. Thanks. Okay.
okay, number 3 is, what is the definition of a sadhu?
And if you don't know the Sanskrit, that's okay, at least the English.
Manini.
A sadhu is basically a pure devotee, someone who is realized. I don't know if they're
Do you remember one who knows the
one who knows the Supreme Lord? What? No, what?
one who knows the sadhya. Sadhanoti sadayati to Krishna premi iti sadhu. So it means one who knows the goal, the sadhya, and the sadhan, the process to attain it. Yeah. And he can guide, he's qualified to guide. Okay.
And the next question is, what is the definition of a Vaishnava? So if you'd like to answer this question, or partially, please go ahead and raise your hand. Or you can click the little button on the screen as well. It raises your hand for you. So the question is, what is the definition of a Vaishnava? Maribel, thank you so much.
So definition of Vaishnava, according to what we just discussed, I think, is someone who has aligned themselves with the mood of the gopis.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
The next question is,
Well,
what
well,
are the-
there's also that Vaishnav is one who's in one of the 4 sampradayas, and he's worshipping Krishna. So that's a very general definition of a Vaishnava, and of course there's many other definitions as well.
Manini?
I just wanted to confirm that, because when you were talking about this, the 4 sampradayas, Charu, it seemed like you were listing quite a lot of things. I just want to make sure I understand. Are the 4 sampradayas the Rudra, Shri, Ramanuja, and Brahma? Or
There's the Brahma Sampradaya, that's Madhavacharya, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted that. And then there's the Sri Sampradaya, or Ramanujacharya, who's the head of.
Ramanuja are the same?
No, yeah, the Sri Sampradaya, like Lakshmi Narayan, and Ramanujacharya is the head of that. And the Vishnu Swami Sampradaya, and that's Rudra Sampradaya, and Nimbadicha Sampradaya is the 4 Kumaras, headed by the Chatusan, the 4 Kumaras.
Okay, so the last question is, what are the symptoms of a sadhu? Oh. Charu, Chandrika, Devi Dasi, were you answering? Oh, you're unmuted. Go ahead, Ima.
Yes, Vaishnava is tolerant, friendly, peaceful, and more abodes by the scriptures, merciful towards all beings, and all his characteristics are sublime.
And yeah, and do you remember Ajata Sattva means he has no enemies?
He has no enemies, yes.
He's very tolerant to Tikshava.
Very tolerant, yes.
Yeah.
Titaksava.
Tikshava means very tolerant. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. And then
That's all the questions we have for that set.
okay, let's go on. So the next slide, please. Okay, so the 26 qualities of a Vaishnava. I didn't put the Sanskrit in here because it wouldn't fit. So anyway, you can always look up the Sanskrit. But so number 1, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Oh, this isn't actually the correct one. I changed it. Anyway, okay. Well, anyway, this is from Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So yeah, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he's explained there the 26 qualities of Vaishnava is that he's very kind to everyone. He does not make anyone his enemy. He is truthful. He is equal to everyone. No one can find any fault in him. He is magnanimous. He is mild. He is always clean. He is without possessions. He works for everyone's benefit. He is very peaceful. He is always surrendered to Krishna. He has no material desires. He is very meek. He is steady. He controls his senses. He does not eat more than required. He is not influenced by the Lord's illusory energy. He offers respect to everyone. He does not desire any respect for himself. He is very grave. He is merciful. He is friendly. He is poetic. He is expert, and he is silent. So I don't think I'm going to go through all of these because it would take a long time, but we'll just touch on a few. So the first one, he is very kind to everyone. So one point about a Vaishnava is that he's very selfless, and therefore he doesn't think of himself and his needs like most people. So even if he didn't have hardly anything to eat or drink, or, still he would give his last drop of water or his last bit of prasadam to anyone. But more than that, of course, the kindness goes way beyond that, in that he's really magnanimous, that he's giving, like I said before, the highest gift, which is Krishna prem to all. Like Mahaprabhu, when he came, he didn't even discriminate, no matter how someone was fallen, even if they were offensive, and he just wants to give, because this is the highest gift one can ever receive. So he's truthful. So what's that mean? Well, there's many meanings, of course. Actually, Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj, my Param Gurudev, he said honest service to Hari Guru and Vaishnavas is actually Guru Seva. And the Vaishnav, he's continually serving Hari, means Krishna, his own Guru, and Vaishnavas. And he's he's serving them in a very honest and truthful manner. So therefore, he doesn't have any duplicity in his heart. He doesn't try to hide anything, like most people, they may present something externally, but internally something else is there. So he's free from duplicity. He's very honest and truthful. He doesn't lie like ordinary people to hide something like this. So he's equal to all. And one very well-known verse in Bhagavad Gita explains Vidyavanaya Sampane Brahmane Gavihastane Sunichaiva Svapakeja Pandita Samadarshanaha. It means that the humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, he sees with equal vision. He sees equally anyone, whether it's a kind and gentle brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, someone who eats dogs, a dog eater. He sees them all equally. In this world, you cannot find this. There's always some kind of discrimination. That's why there's so many like women's rights movements or animal rights movements, and you see people marching all the time because people have a tendency to discriminate, or they have prejudice, or some, there's like racism going on, Black Lives Matter and all these things. These movements are there. But the Vaishnava, he's equal to everyone, right? He doesn't see the outer body, he sees the inner soul. So no one can find any fault in him. Why? Because he's beyond the 4 defects. He's beyond, do you remember we went over this in the first Bhakti Basics session, that he doesn't make mistakes, he's not prone to illusion, he's doesn't have imperfect senses, and nor does he cheat. So he doesn't have any of these faults in him whatsoever. And he's completely connected to Krishna at every moment. So he's a pure via medium. So as Krishna, the absolute truth, is all perfect, he's carrying out Krishna's will, and therefore everything he does is perfect. So there's no fault in him. Next is he's magnanimous, which we already covered. I won't go over that again. He's very mild, gentle in his manner. He has a very soft heart, so he's very soft and gentle. He's always clean, of course. He's pure and clean inside as well as outside. He's follows, this etiquette like this, and it's very good for everyone to see that he's without possessions. This is important. He's niskinchan and also a kinchan. Niskinchan means he's without material possessions, and a kinchan means he doesn't have any material desires. So it's said that a Vaishnava, actually, what is a Vaishnava's only possession? A Vaishnava's only possession is Shri Krishna. So even if you see that a Vaishnava, he's he may have, a few possessions, but even he doesn't, take ownership of those possessions. Why? Because he sees that everything belongs to Krishna and it's to be used in Krishna's service. And just like the prostitute, when the prostitute who approached Haridas Thakur, she was actually having maybe so many possessions, and she was attached to those possessions. She was working to get those possessions, but yet when she became completely purified by the association of Srila Haridas Thakur, she gave up everything. Even people would come and give her lots of clothes and lots of food and so many things that previously she would have been very happy to receive and very attached to, but she was completely detached, and she only accepted what she needed to maintain her life. So this is the example. And a kinchana means free from all material desires. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so it means that, I don't want any wealth, I don't want any women or followers, I don't want any in other words, I don't want followers such as wife, sons, friends, relatives like this. And I don't even want mundane knowledge. What is my only desire? That birth after birth, I want a hoitaki, causeless devotional service. That's all. So this is the quality of a Vaishnava. He's niskinchan and akinchan. Doesn't have any material possessions, and he's certainly not attached to anything in this world, and he doesn't have any material desires. So also in Chaitanya Charitamrita says Kanaka Kamani Pratishta Bhagini. So desire for money, the opposite sex, fame, fortune, like this. This is compared to be like a tigress, and the Vaishnava, he completely gives up such desires. Why? He sees them as completely opposed to Bhakti. And he has no interest. Just like Srivas Thakur, when he Mahaprabhu and his associates were performing kirtan in his house, then his son died, and his wife and all relatives were crying so loudly. And then he heard this crying, he was very upset. He was upset for their crying, not so much for the death of his son. And he told them, he said, look, if you don't stop your crying now, then I will simply go and run and jump in the Ganges and drown myself. Why? Because he felt, they were disturbing the kirtan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is the quality of a Vaishnava. So number 10, he works for everyone's benefit. So he never thinks in terms of I, me, and mine. Very selfless, like I said before. He's always thinking of others. For example, Vasudeva Dutt. He is an associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I maybe mentioned it before, that what did he say? He said, oh, you know, even please liberate all living entities. And even if you don't see that they're fit to be liberated, then please let me take on all their karma, all their reactions to their sinful activities. And I'm more than willing to suffer all those reactions. So he was so merciful, magnanimous. And Srila Haridas Thakur as well. He, like I said before, he was beaten in 22 marketplaces. And but he prayed that those people will not be punished and be forgiven. So the Vaishnava, he works for everyone's benefit. He's very merciful, never thinks of himself. He's very peaceful, and we explained that before, so I won't go over that again. He's always surrendered to Krishna. So this is very important quality that we look for in a Vaishnava. And also he has no material desires. Explained that before. He's very meek, very humble. So of course the verse comes, Tranada peace and Ishna Taro peace Ishna Mani Namanadina Kirtanya Sadahi Hari. He's more humble than a blade of grass that's trodden beneath one's feet. And 19 is he gives respect. Amanina Manadena. He gives all respect to others, and he doesn't expect any respect for himself. So this is the quality of a Vaishnava. You know, someone who's not a Vaishnava, they may want respect. Oh, please recognize me, who I am, and how many good qualities I have, and look what I'm doing. You know, and if that person is disrespected, it's very upset. But a Vaishnava, he doesn't care for disrespect. And in fact, you know, Vaishnava's never looking for respect for himself, and he'll run away from that. Like Madhavendra Puripad, he ran when people were hearing of his glories and wanting to glorify him, meet him, glorify him, like this. Then he ran from the place. So 16 is that he is steady. You know, he's not like you say unsteady, where you know he's kind of so he has nishta. You know, you'll see in his practice is very steady, and of course he's controlling his senses. So verse comes Vachya Vegam, Anashtra Krodha Vegam, Jiva Vegam, and Apasta Vegam. That Rupa Goswami said that what is the qualification of a guru who can make disciples all over the world, that he's controlled his senses, like his speech, his the urge of the mind, that his mind's completely controlled, his anger is controlled. If it appears that a Vaishnava becomes angry, no, this is just he's using that anger. And of course he's controlled his tongue, belly, genitals. Therefore he's qualified. All people can take shelter of such a Vaishnava. So he doesn't eat more than required. Number 17. That means Atyahara Priyashascha Prajaboni Magraha. That Atyahara means that he doesn't have excessive attachment to food, or to overeating or over collecting like this. So if you see a Vaishnava who's greedy and he wants to eat more, and he's very fatty, then Maybe he's not such a pure Vaishnava with his qualities. So 18, he's not influenced by Maya, the material illusory energy. So we see that everyone in this material world pretty much is influenced by Maya, and they are running after Maya. They want to enjoy, but and they are controlled by Maya. But a Vaishnava, he's not in any way touched by Maya. He's not in any way controlled by Maya. He's above Maya. He's on the transcendental platform, like this, completely beyond. So 19, he offers respect to everyone, which I mentioned. He does not desire respect for himself as part of Trinada Pisanishana. He's very grave. So, Hare Krishna. So it doesn't mean that, oh, you know, I see a Vaishnava joking, so he can't be a Vaishnava because a Vaishnava should be grave. No. Like our Gurudev, he would sometimes joke, but this is also Krishna's nature. The Vaishnava has Krishna's qualities as well. Krishna's joking, the Vaishnava may joke, but he's very grave when it comes to his practice. So when it comes to his bhajan, he's very deeply absorbed, very, very internally absorbed, and in that way he's very grave. So next is he's very merciful, which we spoke about before, the Tikshuva Kunaka verse. Kunaka means very merciful, and he is friendly. We spoke about that also. Surada Sarvadeyanam, friendly to all living entities, and he is poetic. We can see that many Vaishnavas, they have this quality of being very, very poetic. Like one that comes to mind is Bhakti Rakshakshila Shida Maharaj. How poetic he was, that he wrote very beautiful songs and verses, like this song that we sing every morning, Sujana Bhadarati Tapadi Yugam Yugadam Durandara Patraram Bradaba Yadaya Kapuja Badam Panamami Sada Prabhupada Padam, song glorifying Srila Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. So how beautiful and poetic is these 11 verses. And he also wrote Prema Dharma Deva Stotra of 70 verses glorifying Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Very beautiful, very poetic. And of course, we know that Srila Rupa Goswami, he's very poetic in all his writings, even like we said in Shibradesh Amrita, Vajravegam, Shukrodavegam, Jivavegam, Pastavegam, like this, very, very poetic. And Srila Bhaganath Das Goswami in Vilap Pushpanjali, Tavai Vashmi na Jivmi Twayavina iti Vignayavade Twam Nayamam Charanantike. So hey, this means, hey Devi, I'm yours, I cannot live without you. Very, very beautiful verses, very poetic verses he wrote. Padabdyas Tavavina Varadashyameva Nanyat Kadabi Samye Kiladeva Yache Sakyayate Mama Namostu Namostu Nityam Dashyayate Mamo Vastosu Vastotu Satyam. So very, very beautiful, very poetic. And also a Vaishnava is very expert. Like the example that comes to mind is when our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti began Keshava Goswami Maharaj, he wanted to acquire the land where Chandrasekhar Bhavan was situated. But what happened is the Muslims, they had taken over this land and made it into a graveyard, a Muslim graveyard. So then what did he do? In the night, he went there and he he took away all those graves, you know, with some help. The graves were dug up, put somewhere else, and then a large garden was made with beautiful big trees and plants, flowers, and this was like all made into a beautiful park overnight. It was really incredible. Next morning, when everyone saw this, they were astounded. And the local Muslims, they were like, what? happened to our graveyard? And they complained to the police, and the police came, and they, you know, these Muslims wanted to file a court case, but the police, they came and they said, but actually this beautiful garden here, it looks like it's been here for many years, and we don't see any sign of a graveyard like that. So how expert the Vaishnavas are, like our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti began Keshu Goswami Maharaj. And 26 is he is silent. So silent means mourn. Mourn means not that he doesn't speak, he doesn't make any sound. Well, of course he's chanting, he's doing kirtan. He's making very beautiful sound in his kirtan and in his speaking, in his speaking Hari Katha. So silent means he's not speaking in any mundane way. He's not speaking any Prajalpa mundane talk like this. So many qualities of a Vaishnava there. So we can go on to the next slide, going through this very quickly. So among the 26 qualities, primary characteristic of a Vaishnava. Among the 26 qualities of a Vaishnava, the quality of full surrender to Krishna is the Srup Lakshana, or primary characteristic. So we discussed this in the 26 qualities of Vaishnava. Number 12 was that he's fully surrendered to Krishna. And this is the most important, actually. You know, there may be some of those qualities we see in an obvious way, and some maybe we don't see in such an obvious way. But the one that's really most important is this surrender. And the symptom of surrender is, of course, we know the six limbs or 6 symptoms of Sharanagati are there. Accepting what's favorable, rejecting what's unfavorable. But the main limb is Goptritre Varanam, which means to think of the Lord as one's only maintainer. So the Vaishnava, he's one-pointed to Krishna, and he's saying that that Krishna is my only maintainer, and he's perpetually engaging in Krishna's service without any worries. So he doesn't worry about his maintenance at all. It's just knowing that my only taste is actually in service. That's all the Vaishnava is interested in. And if Krishna maintains me, okay. If Krishna doesn't maintain me, okay. Like Srivas Thakur, he clapped 3 times, telling Mahaprabhu off. If Krishna doesn't maintain me, you know, even after 3 days, then I'll simply go and jump in the Ganges. So he never did that. We understand that Krishna was always maintaining him. Even though he was spending all his time, energy in chanting and engaging in devotional service. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he said, if a Vaishnava possesses the primary symptom, does he possess the secondary symptoms? So the answer comes, whoever possesses the quality of surrender will soon find that the other symptoms come to him unfailingly. If the marginal symptoms have not reached full maturity in a surrendered sadhu, and some serious discrepancies in his character are visible, he is still to be respected as a sadhu or saintly soul. And of course, the verse comes, Apichet Sudaracharo Bhajate Mamananyabhaka. This is in Bhagavad Gita. So this is a well-known verse, which means even if the most ill-behaved person is engaged with determination in one-pointed devotional service, then he's worthy of being considered a sadhu or Vaishnava due to his intelligence being fixed on me. So we see that a Vaishnava, it may seem that there's some apparent, what do you call it, discrepancies in his character, or there may be something is there visible, but he's still to be considered a sadhu if he's one-pointed. This is very important to see that he has exclusive devotion. And this verse is very deep, so I won't say too much about it. And even the demigods, they couldn't understand this verse, and they approached, I think, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur for an explanation. So the 25 kinds of secondary qualities certainly manifest in, it's not appearing on my screen, the rest, I'm guessing in proportion to the attainment of Bhakti. I can't see can someone else read that who can see it, if you don't mind? The 25 kinds of secondary qualities certainly manifest in, sorry, it's gone off the screen.
Oh, I can read it for you, 1 sec.
Oh, I've got it actually. The 25 kinds of secondary qualities certainly manifest in proportion to the attainment of Bhakti. The more one's Bhakti increases, the more these qualities increase. When these secondary qualities are absent, it should be understood that the degree of Bhakti is not so much. So, that seems quite clear that that if someone has that quality of, Vaishnava has the quality of surrender, then naturally those other qualities will be there, and to that degree that Vaishnava is Vaishnava, then those 25 other qualities will be because to that degree those qualities that we just discussed will be there. So I think we can go on to the next slide. Questions? Okay, we can just go back over. Yeah. So is that the first one? The 26 qualities of Vaishnava. He's kind. He doesn't have any enemies. Truthful, equal to all. No one can find fault in him. And so on. The list goes on. Okay, the next slide. Among the 26 qualities of Vaishnava, the quality of full surrender to Krishna is the Srupa Lakshana, or primary characteristic. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, a Vaishnava possesses the primary symptom. Does he actually possess the secondary symptoms? And says that the other symptoms will come to him naturally. The marginal symptoms haven't yet reached his full maturity, then even if we see some discrepancies, then if he's has exclusive devotion to Krishna, then Ananya Bhak means exclusive devotion, one-pointed devotion, then he's considered a sadhu. And then it explains about the 25 kinds of secondary qualities manifest in proportion to the attainment of Bhakti. So as Bhakti increases, those qualities increase. If the secondary qualities are absent, then it should be understood that to that degree, Bhakti is not so much there. So yeah, then we can go to the questions. Yeah.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Okay, and Charaditi, I'm not sure how long you want today's class to go, but just to let you know, it is 5:23 your time right now.
I think I was going to go on to explain about different levels of Vaishnavas and how or why we should identify a Vaishnava. And yeah, I think we can do that for next time because it's getting late. But if anyone wants, they can.
Okay. Okay, so okay, great. So for this group of questions, the first question is, can anyone name 5 qualities from the 26? So 5 qualities of a Vaishnava from the 26 that we went over. Or if you can name a few. Okay, Manini, you can have more than one person answer.
I was going to say, I thought Marie Bell raised her hand first.
Oh, okay.
No, it's okay. You go ahead.
Okay.
One is that they're poetic.
Yes.
I could list off a couple of other ones. They don't. They're equal. Like they don't see anyone as lesser than them. They don't see people that way. They're surrendered. That's the most important one. And there are lots. I'll let Manini go.
I mean, he's Vaishnava is kind and does not make anyone his enemy, and also is quite expert, and they don't put themselves on a pedestal. They feel like they're equal to everyone. They're very I guess Trinadapi, Simijena, you know, like, or what is that? Amanina, Manadena. They're like offering respect to everyone equally, and
But they don't necessarily see themselves as equal to everyone. They see themselves as very fallen, very low, but they have equal vision towards all living entities because they see the souls within every entity, whether animal, insect, plant, or human. Like that. And carry on, sorry, Manini.
No, that's fine. I mean, other people might want to offer some of the qualities.
I think Nadia here also added some in the chat. Enemies, they have no enemies, they're silent, surrendered, expert, and they have no possessions.
Yeah, that's very good. Thank you. Anyone else?
I do think I have to say that they're a Goswami, that they control their senses. That seems to be very important as well, that they're not really subject to the material nature like the rest of us to that extent. So
they don't overeat.
They don't overeat.
Not on that kind of wavelength. They don't overeat.
Yes, that's very good. Wow, you're covering a lot, everyone. And there was one more towards the end as well. That's not been spoken yet. He's very grave. Yes, very grave. Yeah. And also very expert. Very expert.
Expert yes.
Silent.
And then this question is actually, what is the most intrinsic or primary characteristic of a Vaishnava from those 26?
Sharanagati.
Sharanagati.
Yeah.
Both fully surrender to Krishna.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And why is that the most important? Why is that the most important quality? You know?
Because that's the gateway to bhakti. This is like the prerequisite, you know, I think, to advancing is to be surrendered, from my understanding.
Yeah. So if Vaishnava, he can have 25 of those qualities, but if he's not surrendered, then those other 25 qualities aren't so valuable. Yeah. And most important is how he's completely offered his very self to Krishna. And of course, there's different types of surrender and different degrees of surrender. Like, of course, the gopis, they're fully surrendered because they've offered their mind, body, souls, they're everything, given up everything for Krishna. So in the same way.
And that leads us,
same way Vaishnava is also offered his very self to Krishna. This is the most important. Yeah, go on. Right.
Oh, I was just going to say it leads us to the last question, which is if a Vaishnav possesses the primary symptom, do they automatically possess the secondary symptoms as well?
No,
They
it's
start
proportionate to their level of attainment in bhakti.
Sorry?
I
Couldn't
was
hear
saying
that.
it's proportionate to their level of bhakti. I mean, so they might possess it, but it's in proportion to how deep their bhakti is. That's my understanding of the 25, but I
Yeah,
know it
yeah.
was off, so I couldn't really.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it not that they will slowly mature?
Yes,
And,
also, yeah. If they have that, if a Vaishnav isn't even
Yes.
fully matured, but he has that quality of surrender, then naturally the other qualities will follow. They may not be all there, manifest fully, but they'll come in time. Yeah. And also Manini Didi said that according to the proportion of bhakti that Vaishnav has, to that proportion, those qualities will be there. Okay, great. Was that all the questions?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay. Perfectly finished on time. Yeah, I would have liked to have gone on to the other slides. There's a couple more, but we can include in the next one when we explain the different levels of Vaishnavas next time. So did anyone have any questions, by the way?
I had a question. I was trying to go back and recall it. Let me see. It had to do, I just wanted to be clear. Back when we were talking about what is the sadhaka, I had a note. It's one in whose heart rati or bhav is manifested. Is that correct? Or did I miss something in?
Yeah, and he's also qualified to get darshan of the Lord. So of course, that's very high class.
Yes.
Sadhaka.
Okay, thank you.
That's one who's perfected his sadhan bhakti, that's for sure. Okay.
So I wanted to make sure, like, I understood the distinction between a siddha and a sadhaka. A siddha is perfected soul, right? Like a pure Vaishnava. And a sadhaka is a perfected soul who's practicing. I don't know if I could.
No. A sadhaka is a practitioner of bhakti.
Okay.
Yeah. And the goal of sadhan, kriti sadhya bhave sadhya bhava sasanabhada, the goal of the sadhan bhakti is bhav bhakti. So, but actually a real sadhak is like a bhav bhakta, who's the bhav is already manifest in his heart.
That's where I was confused. So a real sadhak is siddha, a siddhi, right? Or is that?
Well, no. I mean, it doesn't mean siddha, not exactly.
Or Vaishnav, a Vaishnav.
Yeah, I mean, siddha means fully perfected, but a sadhak is still a sadhak until he's fully perfected. So, he's reached that. That is a qualification really of a bhav sadhak, the next level sadhak. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah.
Kind of. That's why I'm trying to make sure I do understand, because I don't know if I have it. I think I have an idea, but it's okay.
Yeah. There's sadhana bhakti, bhav bhakti, and prem bhakti. So sadhana bhakti, bhav bhakti, and prem bhakti. We'll go through this when we go through, Bhakti Tattva, like that. But yeah. So the goal of the sadhana bhakta is to attain bhav, but a real sadhak who's really a bhav bhakta, his bhav is already manifested in his heart and he's qualified to see Lord, but maybe some obstacles are still there. So that definition is
okay. Sadhana bhakti, prem bhakti, and what?
Bhav bhakti, sadhana bhakti, bhav bhakti, and prem bhakti.
Thank you. Okay.
Right. Is there any other questions? Yes.
We, in our previous classes, you mentioned, I'm going through them, so that's why I remember. You were mentioning Paranishnatam. And
Coronation. Yeah.
yeah, and then you here are talking about Swarup Lakshana. How can I link it?
Okay, it must be the verse I was explaining.
Paranishta, yes.
What's the whole?
It's like fixed in the
Oh,
in
Devotee
absolute.
Paranishnatam. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
What's I can't recall the verse now.
Then it's actually almost the same thing. Actually,
Sorry,
it's
what is the
almost
same?
the same, like being surrendered.
Yeah. What's the same? To have realization in Krishna is
Yeah. Yes.
it's not not quite the same.
Right.
A little different. The Sruplakshan is the intrinsic characteristic. I should have said that. That's the meaning of Sruplakshan, intrinsic characteristic. And the intrinsic characteristic of all these 26 qualities of Vaishnava is surrender. But actually, like I said, there's different levels of surrender and different types of surrender. Like the surrender that Krishna talks about in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvadharma Pragyagam Mammaikam Saranam Praja. This type of surrender is kind of, it's not like real full surrender because there's a condition there. Krishna says, oh, you know, if give up all varieties of dharma, just surrender unto me. And if you do so, I will protect you from all sinful reactions. In this way, it's kind of like some bribe. Krishna's saying, oh, you know, just surrender to me and I will protect you. But actually, a Vaishnava who's really surrendered is not surrendered in that way. It's really, even like Mahaprabhu, when he asked Ramananda Roy about what is the goal of life, and Ramananda Roy, he said so many different things. And then he quoted this verse, Sarvadharma Pragyagam. And what did Mahaprabhu said? He said, oh no, this is external. You see, so this is one type of surrender, but the real type of surrender, Vaishnava, he's fully surrendered. He's fully offered himself. You know, he's completely belongs to Krishna, and he feels Krishna belongs to him. You know, so this is on another. It's another level in a sense. Like, for example, the surrender of Prahlad Maharaj, is it the same as the surrender of the gopis? Is it the same? No, it's not the same. So
Not the same mood, really.
same mood, not the same.
It's not really the
not
same.
the same mood and not the same level of surrender either.
Yeah.
But of course, he's a Jnani Bhakta. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, was there any other questions? No. We finished there. Oh, was there one question in the chat there? Any question in the chat? We've reflected and heard the meanings of these qualities described, but when and how do we apply it? It is better to see all as Vaishnavas or to scrutinize their behavior and try to determine whether you think they are or not. Because there's also this understanding that it's an offense to consider Vaishnava based on external qualities. Yeah, I did mention something about that. We have to be very careful. And in fact, a Kanistha Adhikari cannot even understand, you know, who is Vaishnav. You know, he may see some qualities in someone and think, oh yes, he's a Vaishnava, but actually he's you know, he's not a pure Vaishnava, so to speak. A Kanishta Adhikari cannot really understand, you know, who is a Vaishnava, what level the Vaishnav's on, anything. So that's why the level of Kanishta, it's actually, you know, you have to be very, very careful, because you easily make aparad. And this question is, when and how do we apply the qualities? So yes, it's good to know the qualities and to look for those qualities, obviously. But Srila Rupa Goswami says, we should understand the level of Vaishnavas. Now, this is really coming in the next session, so I don't want to get too deeply into it now, but definitely we do definitely need to understand what level each and every Vaishnava is on as far as possible. If someone's Kanistha Adhikari, if someone's Madhyama Adhikari, if someone's Uttama Adhikari, Vaishnava, and there's different qualifications, which, like I said, I don't want to speak about too much now, in the next one that will come. But the Madhyama Adhikari, he can discriminate. He can understand who is Vaishnava, who is not Vaishnava, and he gives respect accordingly. The Kanistha Adhikari is not able to give that respect, and that's what makes him Kanistha. So we do, if we're on the Kanistha platform, we can try as far as possible to understand these qualities and what level of Vaishnavas on. But as obviously we cannot fully understand, so we give respect according to, like, for example, if a guru is known as a pure Vaishnava, it could be one's own guru or any other guru, and that guru will give guidance on who is actually Vaishnava and who is not Vaishnava. So if that guru is pointing the way, like, for example, our Gurudev always pointed towards Srila Bhaktivinoda Trivikram Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj as being pure Vaishnava. So we can understand by this. And of course, sometimes we can get some mercy to see something, some glimpse by that Vaishnava's mercy. So yeah, we shouldn't try to kind of scrutinize, by our mind, we can't really understand. By our mental faculty, we can't really understand. But we can hear the qualities, try to see something, but be careful. Definitely. It's a very good question that Mahalakshmi asked. Yeah, because we don't want to make Vaishnava aparad, and this is like Matiyati, this very big elephant offense, and then can ruin our bhakti. So yeah. So was there any other questions? Kunamai, did he?
I don't believe so.
No. On Facebook also nothing there. No. Okay. All right. So thank you everyone for joining again. And next time there'll be Vaishnava Tattva, but the different levels of Vaishnava, so we can go deeply into that, which is very important to understand. So, okay. So would anyone like to sing Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to end with? By the way, Vanchakalpadrubhishta Kripa Sindhubheta Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai. So would anyone like to sing? Is anyone ready? If no one is there, then maybe Krishna Priya Didi or Manini Radha Didi or anyone.
I mean, I can do it if no one else is volunteering.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, have you got your guitar this time?
I can get it. I can sing it. This arrangement, though, is kind of, I don't know what's coming to my mind. I'm sorry I'm on the spot, but it may not be that bona fide, but I'll play something. Let's see. This is sounding kind of not good. Okay, wait. All right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Sorry, I usually capo it. Hare Rama, Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Jai Guru Deva, 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 Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jai Guru Deva, Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada, Jai Guru Parampara, Guru Parampara, Guru Parampara, Jai Guru Parampara, Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora, Haribo, Nitai Gora, Haribo, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai.
Very, very nice. Enlivening.
Better prepare it next time. Haribol.
All right, so if
A
everyone
little bit
would
of
like
a lower register than I normally sing it, so it was a little bit challenging, but that's okay.
Is there something, sorry to interrupt, and I know that we're leaving. There's something about spontaneous service to Krishna. What's it called?
Raganuga Bhakti.
Oh, that's awesome.
Awesome.
There's Vaidi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti.
Awesome.
We can discuss that another time. Okay.
Just thought it was very spontaneous and lovely.
Yeah. I definitely say that Manini Didi is very spontaneous.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this class and for the association, everyone on this class. I'm really appreciating it. I feel like I'm learning so much. It's really a nice grounding in Tattva, and I appreciate it so much, Charu and Karunamai and all who are responsible for making this happen.
Krishna Priya Didi. Yeah.
Krishna Priya Didi.
Same here. Thank you.
Thank you to everyone.
Thank you.
If it wasn't for you all, it wouldn't be possible. So, Haribol.
Well,
Who wants to unmute or on video?
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jamali Didi. You spoke very nicely again, as usual.
Well, thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
And
muted out before I could hear. Were you saying